I'm hearing a lot of rumors that Kylie Jenner broke up with Timothée Chalamet. And before anyone says Timothy broke up with Kylie, like that would ever happen. Like a man would ever break up with a Kardashian. The internet noticed that Timothée Chalamet was absent from Kylie Jenner's 28th birthday party festivities. And the last time the two were seen together was back in Saint-Tropez.
Okay, here is the deal. You are not ready for the mess, the glamour, and the barely contained drama that just exploded between Tinseltown's favorite Oscar bait and the billionaire beauty queen who sells billions of lip kits. Timothée Chalamet and Kylie Jenner, the pairing that felt like a luxury brand collab we didn't ask for but couldn't ignore, are apparently on a collision course over something stunningly banal and deeply revealing. Kids, commitment, and how celebrity couples we admire juggle private life with public persona. They started as a whisper in 2023 and became tabloid shorthand for improbable but iconic, a Gen Z acting savant who can do art house and big budget without blinking, and a mogul who built an empire selling gloss and mystique. But insiders are now saying Timothée has been not on board with Kylie's plans to expand her family. And that tension allegedly pushed the pair on the brink of calling it quits. That framing, the actor who's not ready, the entrepreneur who finally wants stability, is a neat little headline that flattens every complicated late-night negotiation two adults might have about timing, priorities, and what they actually want from life. Here's the rub. Celebrities have always negotiated personal milestones, but the Kardashian-Jenner clan turned timeline management into an art form. Kylie, coming off a high-profile past relationship and 2 kids with Travis Scott, is a mother who publicly values family. Her choices are both genuine and brand positive. Timothée, on the other hand, is riding a rocket of prestige projects and awards season chatter. His newfound shaved head and Marty Supreme lead role suggests someone streaking toward auteur-friendly stardom. When timelines collide, you get what looks like a romantic mismatch, but actually functions as a branding clash. Of course, the alleged split rumors caught steam because Kylie and Timothée had been conspicuously scarce together for months. The visibility gap fueled 1,000 theories. Chemistry fade, career friction, family interference, or the classic modern romance culprit, logistics. Then Kylie swung back into public view like a chess move, popping up at the surprise New York Film Festival premiere for Timothée's Marty Supreme, and attending the after-party with coordinated leather looks. That appearance was not only a personal gesture. In celebrity calculus, it was also an editorial decision designed to redirect the narrative. Let's be blunt, arguments about kids are a pressure test for any relationship, but they're an atomic stress test when 2 people live inside industries that commodify attention. Kylie sells stability and curated family visuals to a global audience. Her brand profits from the perception of curated domesticity, even as she monetizes every corner of her life. Timothée's brand is about artistic range, mystique, and the kind of singular focus that awards voters romanticize. When timelines collide, you're not just debating diapers, you're negotiating what each party's public identity will be. There's also the Kardashian factor. The family is a machine for turning private moments into cultural moments, and that machine has a long memory of strategic alliances, feuds, and metamorphoses. Think of the way relationship narratives have been weaponized before. The pull of a public romance can be used to drive a show, a product, or an album. Kylie's moves, including jetting from Paris Fashion Week to a New York premiere in less than 24 hours, read as someone fluent in the choreography of optics. That's not cold cynicism. That's a recognition that these people sometimes have to perform resolutions even when they're still negotiating. What makes this feel different from the usual celebrity breakup cycle is the asymmetry. Kylie's history, 2 children, a massive commerce empire, and an appetite for stability is contrasted with Timothée's trajectory. Rapid artistic ascent and the oddball eccentricities of a modern indie darling. There's an inherent power dynamic tabloids will boil down to he's not ready, and she wants more, but that gloss masks the mechanics. Kylie has less runway than Timothée when it comes to life chapters because she's already in the parenting lane. Timothée's runway is filled with shoots, premieres, and festival runs that are measured in months and contract windows. Let's pull back and talk about optics and performance. Kylie flying into New York from Paris and turning up at a secret screening is a narrative judo move. It telegraphs solidarity and signals, "We're fine," even if the couple's actual private conversations are fraught. Celebrities have weaponized attendance for years. Remember how an appearance at a family dinner or holiday can be parsed as a definitive statement about relationship health? Now imagine that amplified across social platforms, tabloids, and influencers riffing on every angle. And don't forget context. Timothée's life isn't suspended waiting for Kylie's timeline. He's been filming in Budapest for Dune Part 3, and he's at the center of award season calculus with Marty Supreme. That kind of schedule and the cultural mythology of the focused actor, the one who sacrifices life for art, feeds into the trope that men in creative professions delay family for their work. It's a trope, yes, but it's also a real scheduling reality. You can't just drop a franchise shoot or a festival premiere because someone wants to reconfigure their family plan. Let's talk about family dynamics and the extended cast. The Kardashian-Jenner household is famously close, sometimes intrusive, and always on brand. This means Kylie's personal preferences are rarely private for long, and familial expectations can become part of the narrative friction. It's not conspiratorial to suggest that when a Kardashian wants something, be it support, commitment, or public recognition, the family ecosystem rallies. That can be comforting, but it can also feel like pressure if you're the partner who values solitude and singular work focus. Now, for the fans and the marketplace, why does this matter beyond gossip? Because both Kylie and Timothée occupy cultural cross-sections, beauty commerce meets a 24 adjacent prestige cinema, and their union, or its undoing, is a story about brand collisions. Kylie's empire depends on a narrative of stability and desirability. She sells aspiration. Timothée sells credibility and artistic singularity. If they can reconcile those, it becomes a PR masterclass. But if they can't, it becomes an instructive case study in mismatched career arcs. Don't underestimate the role of performative masculinity in all of this. The "he's not ready" line feeds neatly into older stories about male fear of commitment. But we should interrogate why commitment often gets coded as either a failure to be ambitious or a moral deficit. The public loves narratives where an artist sacrifices everything for craft. The public loves redeemed fathers in tabloid arcs, too. But rarely do we see nuanced stories where both partners' ambitions are validated simultaneously. The tabloids prefer tidy arcs. Man resists, woman evolves, man either capitulates or becomes the villain. Let's zoom into the specifics reported. Insiders told outlets that there were disagreements over timing. Allegedly, Kylie wants to expand her family while Timothée is focused on his career and not ready to be a father. These were the exact claims that set gossip feeds on fire and prompted Kylie to make a high-visibility appearance at Timothée's premiere, essentially saying, "Hush, we're still a thing." But here's a thought experiment. What if these insider takes are less about the couple and more about feeding a cultural apparatus that needs drama to stay tuned? There's also the performative reconciliation possibility. Kylie showing up at a premiere is a visible repair attempt, a signal that the ship is not sinking. And it might work. Public appearances are a classic relationship salvaging tool in celebrity playbooks. A coordinated wardrobe, a shared photo op, and a smiling selfie can rewrite narratives faster than a quiet conversation ever could. But also remember that coordinated optics can paper over friction temporarily. They don't change underlying decisions about kids, career, or long-term alignment. From a culture-watching perspective, this saga reflects how we value certain life choices. The fact that stories about whether a woman should settle down or a man should man up are still headline currency in 2025 tells us something about cultural lag. We like to think that public figures evolve with societal shifts, but celebrity narratives often reinforce older archetypes because they're familiar and clickable. Kylie wants more kids? Headline. Timothée resists? Headline. The nuance that grown people can be both ambitious and relationally vulnerable gets scrubbed away for the sake of engagement metrics. Now, for the conspiracy leaners and tabloid addicts, could there be a broader strategic motive here? Some outlets thrive on pitching a breakup narrative because it invites follow-ups, exclusives, and guest commentary. Others might leak differences to test public sentiment or to nudge the couple into making a public move. In the Kardashian orbit, rumors sometimes function as soft PR. Float a narrative, watch the reaction, and then control the outcome by responding. Kylie's surprise appearance could be read as a corrective in that sense. All right, now the kayfabe fallacy. We act as if celebrity relationships operate like private squares of human life untouched by careers, but that's not realistic. For many celebrities, relationships are at least partially transactional. They produce content, they anchor narratives, they influence brand pipelines. Kylie and Timothée's coupling was inevitably going to be mined for both personal and market value. So when romance runs into a fundamental life decision, children, the collision is both personal and commercial. Let's be granular about Kylie's past. She's not new to this calculus. Her history with Travis Scott, co-parenting Stormi and Aerie, taught her how to balance personal priorities with a public life and a billion-dollar business. Those kids are part of any decision she makes now. So when reports say she wants more children, that's not a whimsical headline. It's a shift in a life already choreographed for public consumption. Timothée's trajectory is the mirror image. His choices are shaped by projects that demand complete focus. Marty Supreme is a prestige thing, and he's in the middle of big shoots like Dune Part 3. When an actor's calendar reads like a succession of deadlines and festival runs, family planning becomes a negotiation over time and identity, not merely a private longing. That tension, art versus domestic life, is the subtext tabloids turn into crisp copy. Public appearances have become the language of credibility in celebrity romance. Kylie jetting from Paris Fashion Week to a surprise New York Film Festival premiere feels like a deliberate pause in the narrative, a visual statement meant to quiet chatter. The Kardashian-Jenner playbook is to convert any volatility into content, then monetize the empathy or outrage that follows. It's savvy and emotionally complicated. Optics can comfort, but they can also camouflage the actual work of compromise. We should also cut through the moralizing. The "he's not ready" story fits easy cultural scripts about masculinity and ambition, but that's an oversimplification. Fear of parenthood, especially mid-career, can be rooted in practical concerns, schedules, mental preparedness, public scrutiny, not just selfishness. Likewise, a woman insisting on her timeline is often branded demanding when she's simply exercising agency. The public appetite for tidy villains and heroes makes both parties into caricatures, and that's where public discourse often fails both. There's a meta angle here too. Gossip cycles thrive on uncertainty. Leak an insider quote about timing and watch the ecosystem churn. Even denials and reconciliations become content because a surprise appearance at the right party resets the story and sells the next chapter. So when Kylie shows up at a premiere, that's both a personal choice and a media counterpunch. Don't read it as proof of a fairy tale fix. Read it as a tactical move in a relationship that is also a brand partnership. Where does this go next? Expect a messy middle. Temporary public placations, private negotiations, and maybe a slow burn recalibration where the pair redefine the terms of their relationship without deleting the optics. Given both of their stakes, Kylie's commercial empire and Timothée's artisanal career, a neat resolution seems unlikely. More likely, sequential compromises, public-facing unity when it's advantageous, and private decisions that may or may not ever be fully disclosed. And remember, this is also a lesson in power dynamics. When a superstar brand and a prestige actor collide, the fallout teaches us about modern expectations. We project stability onto women and romanticize sacrifice for men, while the media profits from that friction. Keep watching. It's a textbook case in 21st century fame and pressure, and consequences everywhere. Let's rewind and map the fingerprints. Attention didn't happen by accident. The pairing jams two cultural currencies together, Kylie's commerce-driven domestic glow audience, and Timothée's cinephile, awards season crowd. That collision is naturally clickable, and the press has been impatient to turn private negotiation into a public narrative. When outlets print that Timothée was not on board with family plans, it's shorthand for a messy, real conversation, but also the kind of leak that fuels endless cycles of speculation. Social media accelerated everything. Fans treated the Yankees game sightings and a few coordinated outfits like legal evidence, a casual date for some, a strategic olive branch for others. Those public moments became pressure valves and proof points simultaneously, showing how appearances are both relational gestures and media signals. The sighting at the Bronx game and a handful of low-key public dates tamped down immediate breakup chatter but magnified speculation about timing and priorities. Insider quotes deserve a closer read. Tabloid sourcing often functions as dramatic shorthand. Phrases like "on the brink" or "not ready for fatherhood" are designed to keep the public invested. Mandatory Magazine and other outlets ran with these claims, and the ripple effect was predictable. More coverage, more insiders, more narrative entropy. Those anonymous tips sell headlines, but they're hardly a documentary account of a relationship's inner life. Kylie's situation is different because children are already part of her calculus. She co-parents 2 young kids with Travis Scott, a reality that compresses timelines and raises practical questions that celebrities without children may never face. Any conversation about expanding the family implicates existing parenting arrangements and resources. It's not merely about desire, it's about infrastructure. That fact changes the negotiation radically and explains why this particular disagreement read so explosively. Meanwhile, Timothée's obligations are concrete. Between festival premieres for Marty Supreme, franchise shoots, and the kind of press cycle that defines modern prestige acting careers, he is not operating on a leisurely calendar. Actors don't always have the luxury to pause production for personal reasons. Studio schedules, contracts, and international shoots complicate family planning. That reality explains why a not-ready narrative can be both an expression of personal uncertainty and a logistical fact. What this becomes culturally is a study in optics and asymmetry. The public still prefers tidy moral arcs. Men resist and then soften, women wait or pressure and then get what they want. That simplistic morality play fits old templates and produces click-friendly copy. The more interesting possibility, partners crafting asynchronous solutions that balance career intensity with parenting, is far less glamorous and therefore far less covered. But those quiet compromises are where many modern relationships actually survive. Consider the Kardashian-Jenner machine. It can amplify, correct, or weaponize narratives quickly. Kylie has access to a level of operational PR muscle that can stage appearances, control messages, and pivot stories on a dime. When she made that surprise appearance at Timothée's premiere, it functioned as an editorial decision as much as a personal gesture. It recalibrated attention, redirected the rumor mill, and provided a fresh image for feeds hungry for resolution. Now, put yourself in the PR room. Slow the leaks, manage joint appearances, and pick venues where optics read as support without overexposing private disagreements. That's the playbook that stabilizes coverage. But in an ecosystem where tabloids monetize unresolved narratives, such a playbook is an ongoing battle rather than a one-off fix. The media will continue to circulate insiders and test public reaction, and both camps will feel pressure to respond. At the level of fandom, reactions split on predictable lines. Protective fans want privacy and compassion. Gossip-hungry audiences want a cliffhanger. The commodification of private life hollowed out the middle ground of empathy. So people choose a posture: judge, sympathize, or monetize. Meanwhile, brand partners and sponsors quietly monitor engagement metrics, ready to recalibrate their associations if the narrative threatens a product's image. So where does this go next? Expect staged unity and private negotiation. Expect Kylie and Timothée to oscillate between public placations, coordinated looks, surprise appearances, carefully timed Instagram posts, and private decisions that may never align with the glossy timeline fans crave. Either outcome will teach us about the health of modern celebrity coupling, whether two highly visible people can build a quiet life, or whether intimacy will be repeatedly repurposed into content. Final thought: this is more than gossip. It's a cultural study in timing, ambition, and how modern celebrity compresses life choices into headlines. Watch the choreography, question the optics, and remember that both parties are making decisions under extraordinary public pressure. Like and subscribe, tell me who wins this narrative. Let's rewind and map the fingerprints. The coverage didn't begin with a whisper and end with a headline. It evolved through curated appearances, strategic absences, and a handful of insiders who conveniently animate the gaps. The first wave of attention came because the two are, objectively, a weird and watchable jolt. A romance that stitched together two separate cultural currencies. Kylie brings audiences who consume beauty drops and TikTok moments by the million. Timothée brings cinephile clout and awards chatter. Social media has been an accelerant. The superfans who tolerated months of low-visibility romance now parse the couple's body language, the 2-second clip of a shared laugh, and the jet-set receipts like legal evidence. Think of the Yankees game where they were spotted in the Bronx wearing coordinated looks. To some, it was a casual date night. To others, it was an olive branch. Those images became a crucible for side narratives. They're back, they're over, or the more entertaining internet take, this is an optics masterclass. The insider quotes deserve unpacking. Publications leaned on mutual sources suggesting that Timothée was on the brink of ending things because of disagreements about kids and the timeline. Those quotes are performative by design. They carry the cachet of intimacy without the responsibility of confirmation. When Mandatory Magazine and other outlets run with on-the-brink language, it simultaneously stokes engagement and keeps the story renewable. That sort of sourcing is dramatic shorthand. It gives editors traction and keeps readers clicking. Let's discuss consequences beyond headlines. For Kylie, any hint of instability matters to investors, partners, and product strategists who buy into her narrative currency. Her brands, including beauty and lifestyle ventures, are predicated on an aspirational stability. If the public perceives a fracture in her personal life, the risk isn't just emotional, it's fiscal. Sponsors and distribution channels watch these arcs because they'd prefer their ads to live in a context of warm, viral positivity rather than controversy. I also want to interrogate the gender codebook here. When a man in the arts postpones family commitments, the public often reads that as noble dedication. When a woman pushes for children, she's sometimes labeled as transactional. That double standard is old-fashioned and unfair, but it sells. The Kardashian-Jenner universe has long been accused of weaponizing narratives around motherhood and stability to catalyze sympathy and engagement. Not necessarily in an insidious way, but in a highly sophisticated media economy that turns intimacy into currency. All right, hit subscribe, tell a friend, and drop a comment. Who do you think wins the narrative if the couple splits? And who loses if they stay together? The real winners might be the tabloids, but the real story is the human one, and I want to hear what you think.